Hey everyone, it's Jackie from Vegan Yak Attack, and I'm back with a brand new recipe this week. And as I mentioned earlier this month, I'm doing giveaways all month, so thank you to those of you who've entered, and congratulations to those who have won. And this time, I'm featuring a very delicious recipe from my friend Caitlin's new cookbook, Simply Delicious Vegan. Very exciting. The book is gluten-free, oil-free, and refined sugar-free. Pretty great, especially for January when people have different goals kind of set. Maybe trying to bounce back from heavy-handed holidays. That's not me, but I know people do that. You know, good for you, good for them. And I love how easy her recipes are. So today, the recipe that she's letting me share with y'all is for Strawberry Rhubarb Crumble Bars. Yay! You know I love a good dessert, so I couldn't pass up sharing this one. It's not quite strawberry rhubarb season yet, but we're close. So I thought I would share this to get you ready for it, to prep you for spring. We can think about it, right? It's very cold right now. So I'm gonna be making these easy bars, which again, gluten-free, oil-free, and refined sugar-free, made with ingredients easily found. I actually didn't have to buy anything. I did have to buy the blanched almond flour because it's not something I always have on hand. And then of course, some strawberries. And like I said, it's not rhubarb season. Here it calls for fresh rhubarb, but since it's sliced and cooked down, and I wasn't able to find fresh rhubarb just yet, I got chopped or sliced rhubarb that's frozen from Sprouts. I didn't really find that at any other store. I've gotten it there a few times. So if you have a Sprouts market near you, you can find sliced rhubarb in the freezer section, which is super helpful for recipes like this. Now, let's get started. First things first, we're going to make the filling so that it can cool down just a little bit, thicken just a little bit before we make the crumble topping and the crust, which is very cool because it's the same recipe for that. You don't have to make like two separate things. So mine might take a couple minutes longer than hers to cook because I have straight up frozen rhubarb right here. But we'll see, probably not too much longer. Then we add our strawberries. I have some maple syrup, some vanilla extract, and then just a little pinch of salt. The rest of the salt is for the crust. We'll stir that together. And bring it to a simmer. Okay, it started to bubble just a little bit. So I'm gonna give this a stir. Turn it down to medium. And we're gonna let this simmer for 8 to 12 minutes or until it's cooked through, broken up a little bit, and has thickened slightly. Her directions say to do it in a pot, but I felt like you could probably see in a pan, at least for this purpose, a little bit better. So follow her instructions. They're in the blog link in the description. Now, while this is simmering, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And then I'm going to line this bad boy with some parchment paper. Here we are, and if you're okay with using oil, I recommend just giving a little spritz to the bottom of this and then putting in your paper. It'll help keep it in place a little bit more. But either way, this is in here. It's not gonna be an issue. Just if you're on the struggle bus a little bit with your parchment paper, maybe give that a try. And you want to stir this occasionally so that nothing starts sticking to the bottom. Smells good. Okay, let's give this another stir. And as it cools, it will thicken a little bit. So I'm just going to turn this off and move it out of the way so that we can work on the crust and crumble topping. Okay, first we're going to put in some quick cooking oats. Then we have some blanched almond flour, some tapioca starch, our baking powder and our salt. We'll mix this together until combined. Break up some of those almond flour chunks. Okay, so that's nice and even in consistency. We can go ahead and add in our almond butter. In her instructions it says no salt added almond butter. So that's what we got here. But I'm sure if your almond butter has some salt in it, you just wouldn't put as much salt as she says. I don't think you need to go buy like a whole new thing of almond butter, you know. That shit gets expensive. All right, we have our almond butter and then some more maple syrup. One of my favorite sweeteners, such a good flavor. Actually, I buy both my almond butter and my maple syrup at Costco because it is much more affordable there, like per ounce basically. Now we're going to mix this together. It says it's gonna be pretty thick. Let's see what happens. And there we go. That is pretty thick, almost like a cookie dough. So it'll be good for spreading into the pan. Now we put about half of the mixture into this 8x8 baking dish. And then just spread it out. And this is more why I recommended, like if you're struggling with your parchment, to spray the bottom of the pan with oil and then put this in, because it does like to move around quite a bit. As you can kind of see, it's sliding around here. But again, that's, you know, personal preference. And I know her book is avoiding oil, so that's the only reason why I'm suggesting it. If you don't have a problem with oil, to probably do that. Just make sure it's even so that it cooks evenly. It's pretty clear. Okay, there we go. See, I got my nice crust in there. Now, ooh, this is still pretty warm. Hopefully we're okay. Just gonna add this in. Ooh, smells so good. And then spread that out into an even layer. And even though it looks kind of wet now, I mean, it's gonna be baking for a bit, so I have confidence that this is just gonna be so good. I'm excited. Okay, there we are with our filling all smoothed out. Now I'm just gonna have to get in here and just crumble this on, you know, as much as possible. So you get nice little like crispy chunks all over the top. And the texture of your crumble might be even a little sturdier or thicker than mine because my almond butter was like pretty smooth. I don't know if you saw that when, you know, I was putting it in. But you know, some nut butters are just thicker than others. I can't wait to eat this. This is basically like, it's almost like a PB&J bar, except that there's a little rhubarb, and instead of peanut butter, it's almond butter. Yeah, I'm about that. That sounds good. Okay. Let me rinse off my fingers really quick. Now, did I lick my fingers clean before rinsing them off and washing them with soap? Maybe I did. It was delicious. So now we're going to bake this on the middle rack for 27 to 30 minutes or until nice and golden brown on top. I'll see you when it's done. Okay, it's time. Ooh, oh, it smells so good. Look at that. Oh my, How am I supposed to wait to eat this? Oh, that smells so good. And the filling definitely thickened up a bit. Oh, okay. Now we have to wait until it completely cools before digging in. Those are the rules. That's what Caitlin said. So I'll come back in like an hour, maybe, until it cools. Hopefully, yes. Okay, be right back. We'll try it then. Okay, I think that I've waited long enough. It's like pretty cool. Fingers crossed, okay? All right, let's take a little corner out of this. It smells so good. The top is nice and crunchy. Let's see if I can get, ooh, very nice. Here we go. I don't have any like proper vanilla ice cream, or else I would top this with it. So we're just gonna give it a go as is, but Caitlin does suggest in the description that it is great with a scoop of vegan vanilla ice cream on top, which I can assume really is fantastic. So got a nice firm crust. Oh, nice and crunchy on top, but not too crunchy to dig into. You see the filling got nice and firm there. I was definitely right in saying this is kind of like a PB&J, but with almond butter, but as a bar. Yeah, this is awesome. I would probably eat this for breakfast, but obviously it's a dessert. I mean, I feel like you could say that for a lot of things probably, but this is excellent. And as I mentioned before, all the recipes in Caitlin's book, let me grab that really quick. All of the recipes in Simply Delicious Vegan are gluten-free, oil-free, and refined sugar-free. And again, really simple ingredients as well. As you saw with this one, I had most everything on hand. Highly recommend. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, and you could enter to win your own copy if you follow the instructions in the description in my blog post, because you'll enter there on my blog post. Okay? You got it? We got it. Okay, great. Now, if you like this video, if you like this recipe, thanks, Caitlin, go ahead, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you next time.